Hello and welcome. What the fuck? We'll just restart that. Blip, 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 blip. Here we go. Hello and welcome to Three's a Crime, a true crime podcast. I'm Tori.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Lindsay.
And that's our intro.
Here we are professional podcasters.
We're podcasters, bitches.
Hi, yeah.
Hi everybody, welcome to Three's a Crime.
Welcome to Three's a Crime.
Hi.
This week is a Lindsey story.
Yep.
Have you heard that creepy sound on TikTok? This smells like mom's crazy sister Kate. No?
Oh my god, no.
Smells like mother's crazy sister Kate. Oh, you think so? Yeah, I do.
Alright guys, today I'm gonna teach y'all about The Curse of the Exorcist, the movie. The Exorcist. One of my favorite movies. When I was young, I didn't really watch many horror movies. My parents were not into any of that either, so I had no idea about that world. But I love the Addams Family, of course. When I was 10, when Scream came out, I didn't know how I ended up watching it, but I fucking loved it, and it started the little seed.
Mm-hmm. Of Lindsay.
Of
Yes.
horror obsession.
Yeah,
that
and
she
then
now
Buffy,
has.
the Vampire Slayers TV series now. So I also remember renting the Blair Witch Project from Hollywood Video and watching it by myself in the dark in my room. Terrible idea.
Did you watch it when it still was being presented as being something like real?
Well, I had no idea about it. I just remember
got
people
it.
talking about it. So I was like, what is this shit?
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised my mom let me rent it.
Probably because she didn't know what it was.
Yeah, that's true. I loved it, but it did scare me. And when I was 16, I started to work at a place called Rings and Things. Right when I turned 16, my mom got me a job like
Oh, I didn't know
a
that.
week later.
She was like, earn your pay,
Yeah.
bitch.
You don't live here for free.
So Rings and Things is a wholesale jewelry business, and it was a wild bunch of employees, and there were very many different kinds of people and very many hippies. That place really shaped what has become the core of my passions in like music, comedy, and movies. One of the guys there was in school for film, Metal Tom. His name is really Josh.
What's his name?
I used to call him Metal Tom.
I thought you said Medical Tom.
Medical Tom.
Medical Tom.
And he educated me on all the classic horror movies. So when I was in my 20s, I finally saw The Exorcist and like Hellraiser, Phantasm, all that shit. I remember The Exorcist really impacting me with how brutal it was, especially when the special effects are done. And the fact that they put this child through this Satan roller coaster.
Yeah.
And no one really thought of it. They were just like, oh, it's fine. If you haven't seen The Exorcist, you probably should. This is going to just be spoilers 3000. So the movie was released in 1973, and the basics of The Exorcist is about a 12-year-old girl who becomes possessed by a demonic entity. Her name is Reagan, and after putting the little girl through all the medical tests they could think of with no result, her mom then looks for a priest to save her little girl. She finds two priests, an older one with experience and another priest who's never really done an exorcism. And it's based on a real story by author William Peter Blatty called The Exorcist. So you don't need to worry about writing that down. The director, William Friedkin, wrote, produced, and directed the movie. And the real story is about a priest who freed a boy who was possessed by the devil. Okay, so in the beginning of the movie, there's an archaeological dig in northern Iraq. And the older priest finds this idol that unknowingly releases the demon Pazuzu.
Pazuzu.
The older priest, not a prince, the older priest in the movie also finds a smaller one, but then they find this huge fucking statue of Pazuzu in the movie. Pazuzu is a real entity that comes from northern Iraq. Pazuzu idols were used by pregnant women and put by babies as protections against Pazuzu's enemy, Lamoshto. I don't know if I said that right. He wanted them babies. So they used Pazuzu as like a little safe adornment to keep him away. The lady who was like has her doctorate and all this shit, she was like, the fact that they made a huge statue for the movie is alarming, because normally the idol wouldn't be made into a huge fucking statue like that because it's too much evil. So like they're normally like probably like a baseball size.
Okay.
But she was like, I can't believe they really did this for this
literally
movie.
my fucking god.
Yeah. So Pazuzu...
And wait, sorry, they did that as like a prop for the movie?
Pazuzu is used throughout the possession scenes in terrifying flashes through the movie. So Linda's double, who Linda Blair plays Reagan, her double was used to be Pazuzu during the subliminal flash scene. So like there's a flash of her face, it's just like blackness, but then it's just white, kind of making her look like a skull. These terrifying red fucking eyes and teeth. It's not a good time. She's strapped to her bed with ropes, with priests trying to exorcise the demons out of her.
Exorcise the
demons.
Lindsay has some holy water downstairs. You could just...
I do. So most of the fucked up shit happens in that room.
Okay.
All right. So during production of the movie, weird fucking shit started happening. There was a fire on set that happened at night.
No.
And the fire took out most of the sets except for Reagan's room. After this, they brought in a Jesuit priest to bless the set. But I don't know if that was enough.
Sometimes I think that it's almost like too late, or if it's really strong. Like, well, and like when we look at what happened with the Lutz family, it seems like the blessing actually
builds it.
Yeah, made things worse.
That because you're giving it more power by making it an enemy. Many people who worked on the film were dealing with deaths of people they knew during this whole production. Linda's grandpa died. 2 actors in the film died after. And the actor who plays the older priest, Max von Sydow, his brother died on the first day of filming.
Oh my god.
And the special effects expert who's supposed to keep everything cool on set died as well. So let me tell you about the director. Call him Wild Will. The director, William, would do whatever it took to get real reactions out of his actors. He would fire a gun behind an actor to get them to jump and get that reaction in film.
What the fuck is that? That's awful.
That's a great way to give your actors PTSD.
Yeah, dude.
God, yeah. Linda said he did some really fucking harsh shit to get real reactions, but she wouldn't say details. When he did his gun thing, only Linda would be told, so she wouldn't jump and react in the scene since she's like the devil. She can't react. So, and also since she was a teen, I think she was 14, she couldn't do some of the more fucked up scenes.
Right.
They hired an actress, Eileen Dietz, who's the devil.
Okay.
The devil, and she's appropriate.
I thought you
age.
said the devil.
Me too. I was like, devil.
And I was like, she's the devil. Oh my god.
She's the devil in a lot of it. And she's also the voice of Pazuzu, and they like manipulated her voice. In a scene where Reagan is starting the wild antics of demon possession, she slaps her mom, Chris McNeil, who's played by Ellen Burstyn. Ellen is in a harness, so when she's slapped by Reagan, she's pulled across the room. They did one take, and William didn't think it was fucking harsh enough. He asked the special effect guy to just fucking pull her really goddamn hard across that room. Well, he launched her across the room, resulting in lifelong injuries to her as well. So when you see her fly, she hits her head. She
legit hits her head.
Legit hits her head and is injured. So I'm going to talk about Linda Blair. in an interview with Linda Blair, she says, quote, "First of all, Billy, the director, William, is a genius. And when you work with someone who's a genius, you're going to go for a ride." When Linda was asked about why things like this were kind of accepted, she said, quote, "It's an agreement actors and directors and productions make for a performance that entertains millions across the world. And what's it for? It's for you."
We're like,
But you also,
well, because she's not. I mean, she's not wrong.
Yeah.
it's like people put actors probably really go through a lot more shit than
they get credit for sometimes.
Yeah.
I would never want.
Well, and it was, it's funny. I was reading an article that it was an interview that Brendan Fraser had given, where he was talking about like one of the reasons why he had stepped back from Hollywood is like, especially after doing like the Mummy movies and George of the Jungle, and he had been doing all of his own stunts.
Oh my god.
Or a lot of his own stunts, and he was like blew out a knee, like all of these different things where he was like, in his late 30s, maybe early 40s, and was just like, my body just was falling apart.
He had the body of a wrestler.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Linda was 12. I'm fired. So 12-year-old Linda is laced into this piece of equipment that throws the top half of her up and down on the bed. So, and of course, dudes are in charge of how fast and how much she's being thrown about, not really having any thought of how she'll be affected. They think she's doing like this amazing acting, but she's legit crying and screaming in pain. She's like, oh fucking, I can't even.
Flopping everywhere.
She's literally flopping. Her bottom,
like a fish out of water.
Like from her probably middle of her abdomen down, she's tied in, but then like the top of her is really, it's not good. This resulted in fracturing her lower spine.
Wow.
So lifelong injury for her and Ellen Burstyn. And they also didn't take her to the doctor, and that footage is in the movie. So we're going to talk about possession. Back in 1972, Pope Paul VI made a proclamation saying how, quote, "We've all lost the belief that evil was and the devil are real life entity." So he like says this as like a big thing, and then the year after that, The Exorcist is released, showing you that evil is actually real. And in Catholicism, exorcism is a real thing that's still performed.
Right.
So in the movie, there are some incredibly scary scenes when Regan is possessed by the demon. There are some extra wild scenes in this movie. And here's your trigger warning for a real fucked up one. In the beginning of the possession in the movie, Regan, played by her adult double, Eileen, masturbates with a metal crucifix. Like blood all over, and she shoves her mom's face in the blood.
Ooh, I don't remember this.
And she says, "Fuck me, Jesus."
I do remember that. Oh God. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Making the same noise that Tori was when she had to pick up dog poop.
Imagine this in the 70s. Like now,
I can't even. She masturbated with a metal crucifix and got blood all over everything.
I remember watching
says, "Fuck me, Jesus."
Oh, then shoves her mom's face in it. That's the thing. I was like, holy shit. And that's when also Ellen flies across the room and hits the wall.
That is so unpleasant.
So with like all this devil shit, they really used it for promotion. So they promoted the movie in the same style as Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. With Psycho, they would put out ads saying, "You must see the movie from the beginning," and people have been fainting and running out of the theater. Which worked real well to get people
into the theater.
Yeah. The news would interview people who've seen the movie, and they talked about fainting, and they actually showed some of them fainting right there on camera. So these claims seemed legit since it was on camera, but a lot of the hype of how much this fucked people up and all of that was PR. So the studio thought that this movie wasn't going to make any money, so they got on the train of lies. Train of lies!
Boarded that train?
Yeah. They would park ambulances outside of theaters where they were playing the movie. And they made trailers and ads saying wild shit to get people interested. When asked about the movie, Pope Paul VI, he's back, he was quoted saying, "Demonology is an important part of Catholic doctrine that should be studied again." End quote. So they used this quote in their promotion as well for the movie.
Wow.
Approved by Pope.
Yeah.
And another quote comes from Billy Graham.
Oh,
Yep, saying that he believed the devil was in the film Celluloid itself. So now they have created an urban legend saying that if you watch the movie in the theater, demons will be released.
He basically is like, this movie just exudes evil.
Yeah, and he created that whole thing like, oh, if you're gonna watch it,
you're gonna get possessed.
Right.
So there was another warning that they put out saying, quote, The Exorcist, threat of mental health. The Exorcist is rated R. Is rated R. Admittance under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian. It may well be the most dangerous motion picture ever made in relation to its potential threat of the emotional health of preteens and teenagers and some adults as well.
Oh my goodness.
That's a whole fucking thing.
Wow.
That was one big long sentence.
Yeah, but nothing makes a kid want to see a movie more than telling them they can't see it.
Exactly. That's why they did it. So the movie was also protested in some cities and was banned in some parts of the UK.
Wow.
My parents probably would have been part of that protest.
Oh, totally.
Very much like when The Last Temptation of Christ came out. That was a big deal.
So during the promotion of the film, poor Linda was asked repeatedly if she was mentally healthy from the filming.
I mean,
it makes, but it's just like, are you okay? Are you okay? Did something happen?
remember when
Just
the director shot a gun behind your head to freak you out? Like, what?
Ugh.
Okay.
She told the press at the time that she was fine and it didn't bother her, but Linda said that it was really tough and probably most teens couldn't survive it. People would literally run away from her in public, and the studio had to get her bodyguards because people thought she was really possessed.
Oh my gosh.
But like, okay, look, I know it was the 70s and all, but like, who really thought she was actually possessed?
Well, this is the first time this is being
That's true.
shown like to the world.
True. Good point. You got it.
But like now it wouldn't be.
Right.
Yeah. So want to know what Linda does now besides some acting? She is absolutely devoted to a nonprofit she established in 2004 called the Linda Blair Where'd You Go?
The Linda Blair Where'd You Go?
No, okay. The Linda Blair World Heart Foundation. It's a rescue and rehab for abused, neglected, and mistreated animals.
Oh.
She loves the dogs, and after Hurricane Katrina, she went to Mississippi and saved 51 abandoned dogs.
Linda Blair, call me.
Hello.
She belongs in our Sweet Lil BABS club.
Yeah,
She
Sweet Lil BABS.
does.
Do you want to announce the Sweet Lil BABS?
We decided to make a Sweet Lil BABS club called Sweet Lil BAD ASS BITCHES.
Yeah, it's for badass bitches. So anytime we have survivor stories or anything like that,
Michelle Knight was a badass.
Michelle Knight
bitch.
she's the badass bitch, so she's a sweet little bib.
Yeah.
Or sweet little badass bitch.
Yes.
Sweet little bab.
So like anything she's in lately for press, she has like dog shirts. She has rescue dog shirts on.
Oh my god.
She has a whole thing at her house of just
So
all these
cute.
animals.
That's awesome.
It's
Thank
cool.
you, Linda Blair.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna get into the real weird true murder that
Take me there.
was associated. In the movie, while Reagan's mom is trying to find out what's wrong with her before going to the exorcism route, they put her character through a litany of medical tests. For a scene in the movie, William went to the NYU radiology department to watch how a procedure was done that would be in the movie. It was a procedure that takes x-rays of blood vessels in the brain called a cerebral angiography. Angiography?
Whatever.
At the time, this procedure was done by putting a largish needle into the carotid artery.
Did you say largish needle?
Yeah, largish. 'Cause I couldn't-
Largish needle.
in the carotid artery, which is the front of your neck. Then a catheter is inserted. God damn it. Okay, so the
We're having
catheter
problems today.
is inserted and injects a contrast. So the blood vessels are visible on the x-ray. But before the catheter is put in your body, blood literally just shoots out. They don't do this anymore, but this is how they used to do it.
But you think about that in horror movies when your carotid is
and it's going
spurts. Yeah.
Yeah. So since it was such a fucking gnarly of a procedure, William was like, well, yeah, let's put this in the movie. So in this scene, they're wheeling Reagan into the X-ray room. And the person who X-rays her is actually a legit X-ray tech that worked at the hospital. His name was Barton Lane.
Barton.
Cute. William used the real texts in the movie are as extras, so they're all legit. And there was one tech named Paul Bateson, who was the chief neuroradiology technologist at the time.
Goodness.
Barton said he was quiet and super nice to the patients, especially kids.
Like, he was really nice, especially to kids.
No, there's nothing. No.
He was not actually nice.
No.
He ate children, you know? Like,
He ate children?
A little bit after The Exorcist was released, Paul Bateson started to drink far more than usual. In 1975, he was fired from his job being the tech stuff, and as his drinking started to affect his performance there. Paul made some money here and there with odd jobs like cleaning people's apartments and doing like repair in their apartment too. He also worked at a local porno theater taking people's tickets. Yeah.
Oh, what?
I love how it was just like, he helps with then porn.
The fact that, like, because a porn theater is literally where you sit and watch porn. But
Yeah.
it's like in public, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like, why?
creepy.
Well, that's
Well,
the only
because
way.
they didn't have
It's the only way they could
computers
get
and
porn that moved.
Yeah,
That
but like,
wasn't
what? You
pictures.
just sit in a movie theater with a bunch of strangers and like we all just don't talk about it or make eye contact?
right,
Yeah.
and then they all wank, and
Do they wank in the theater?
yeah. You just, why do you think they always in the movies are always sitting so far apart?
What do you think? Like, I don't make it a point to frequent fucking porn theaters.
No, but I mean, you've seen them in movies.
Tori's
I
like
don't
that.
know if I
Fine.
ever have seen them in movies. That
You've
is
seen them in
so
movies.
I
gross.
have, I
Like,
know exactly.
Who
Yeah.
do you think, like,
Like, did
has
you
to
see
clean up the
Doctor?
wank?
Did you see Doctor Sleep?
no, I've never even heard of that.
Oh, you
well,
would love
whatever,
it.
You're dumb.
She'd have to see The Shining first. And,
I've seen The
True.
Shining.
I don't believe. Well,
I have seen The Shining. I have seen The Shining.
Lindsay goes, I don't believe
I
you.
I
See,
know,
I
I know.
can-
I would tell you the truth. I
how
have
did
seen
you
The Shining.
watch the whole thing? It's so long.
I don't know. I watched it like a long time
Okay.
ago.
Okay.
Because it was like my mom's favorite movie, and I always wanted to know where Here's Johnny came from.
Let me tell you what, things are starting to make so much
I was
sense.
just gonna say it's mom's.
She's
favorite
not as
movie.
weird as me, but she's definitely like a little off.
Okay, porno.
And porno.
For a little bit, he was sober.
Like the sounds in there. Like
The sound you made.
the sounds that are in the porno theater while someone is wanking next to you is gross.
But with like the
Like-
movie going and the
like- That's what it would sound like.
I
Gross.
just, like, my brain didn't even go there, and then she went so deep into it, like, she physically put herself
details.
into one next to somebody, like, this is what it would sound like if I was there. Flop, 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 flop. Eat, eat, eat.
Oh yeah.
It just
This thought of that.
Ugh.
Oh. Okay, so poor Paul working in a theater, porn. Okay, so for a little bit
So much porn.
after that, he was sober and attended some AAA meetings. He
AAA meetings.
You went to meetings.
Both of them.
Where they sold him
sound right. I'm like, hey. Oh no!
He went to AA. So it's like, why does that sound so weird? Oh my god.
I kept typing it. I'm like, why does this sound weird?
Yeah, he was a member of AAA.
Oh my god, that was
They
funny.
gave out free batteries.
He attended AA meetings. And he hung out with other gay men who were also in AA and trying to find someone to spend his life with. In 1977, shit got sad again, and he started drinking more. Again.
Damn
whatever.
it.
This increased
So wait, this is the guy that was the
X-ray tech
right? Okay,
in it.
just making sure I was still with it.
Yes. This increased his depression and loneliness, and he rarely went out into the world, but sometimes he would try to socialize at the leather bars.
Leather bar. Oh, is that? I think. Where do I feel like I saw one of those on a TV show recently?
There's a big thing in San Francisco. I forget what it's called. Where it's like a big BDSM, right?
Okay.
Grace and Frankie.
Yeah. Like the
Yes, that
leather
is
and the-
where I saw
yeah.
that. A leather bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Picking up what you put down.
I love that I knew what it was.
Yeah.
What show?
All right. On September 13th and 14th, Paul met Addison Verrill. Addison was a reporter who covered the film world for Variety and was very popular in the gay community. At the bar Badlands, Addison had offered to buy Paul a beer, not buy beer, and then they had many more beers were bought and drank together.
Let's have some beers.
They
baby.
both started to take poppers and rail some fucking cocaine.
Well,
They went to another bar, continuing their two-person party. Addison was wary of taking him home as he had work in the morning, but
Wait,
they did.
I'm sorry. Don't they also like relax?
Yeah, the poppers relax your muscles, including like your sphincter muscles.
Yes.
So it's easier to have sex.
really?
I forgot about that. Yeah. Okay, so they're going to Addison's. They go to the apartment. Okay. They did more drugs and drank, and eventually
Eventually.
they banged. After all of
Bang,
this,
bang, bang,
Paul-
bang, 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 bang.
After all this, Paul wanted to try to make this a relationship, but Addison did not. Paul
Mm.
said of that time, he was still wasted and, quote, I needed money and I hated the rejection. I decided to do something I've never done before. Paul knocked Addison out with a frying pan to his head and started to stab him in the chest, killing him. He
Yikes.
stole $57, Addison's credit card, passport, and clothes. So he only he used the money to buy liquor and get drunk as fuck.
Okay, well.
So during this time, there's also a serial killer preying on gay men. They were found dismembered and in bags floating in the Hudson River.
Oh my god.
These victims have never been identified. The bodies were found in bags with the writing of NYUMC's Neuropsychiatric Unit.
Ew.
The fuck?
And that's all. That's all that was on it. So the police thought that how the bodies were dismembered had to have been done by somebody with experience, and the police then thought Paul might be this killer. In September 14th, 1977, Addison was found dead in his apartment. There were no clues that it was Paul at that time. Arthur Bell, a gay activist, journalist, and close friend of Addison's, wrote an article about the whole shit show in the newspaper The Village Voice. He also really touched on how the rise of murdered gay men in the village were not being taken seriously by the police. Months after the article came out, Paul called Arthur Bell anonymously, responding to what he wrote. He said, quote, I'm not a psychopath. I'm gay and needed money, and I'm an alcoholic. After this, Arthur told the police, and they went to Arthur's hoping the anonymous guy would call again. Someone did call Arthur, but this time they said it was Mitch. He said he knew who the killer was and said it was Paul. And the police went to Paul's house, found him drunk and passed out on the floor. When they picked him up and woke him up, the police asked him if he knew why they were there. Paul then pointed to the wall where the article from Arthur Bell was displayed.
Creepy.
Oh my god, he framed it?
I think he probably taped it up. He was then arrested and charged with second-degree murder. During the trial, the prosecutor tried their fucking hardest to make Paul the serial killer, even though there was no evidence. So the judge sentenced Paul to 20 years to life in prison, and he also said there wasn't enough evidence to convict him of the other murders as well, so that's still unsolved. So that's why people think he's a serial killer. That's why people think, oh, there's a serial killer in Exorcist, but it's just
Right.
a man who murdered a man. So the whole demon soup has created one of the most notorious movies of all time. People still get a kind of twinge of fear when this movie is talked about.
Wow.
Well, I wrote this like, it holds such an energy of fear and interest, and I don't think another movie holds this kind of power. It's incredibly acted, and even if the director is scary wild cards, goddamn good movie. And The Exorcist.
The Exorcist.
Wow.
I was gonna do more movies, but that was a lot.
Yeah. Jeez.
I really
man.
want you to do The Omen next.
I'm going to. Like The Omen, and Poltergeist, the original.
Mm-hmm.
God, there's some other ones. I have a whole list.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks, everybody.
Lindsay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for listening.
Going on this Exorcist adventure
Had fun with Pazuzu
and possession.
and Possession and poor
Please
little
don't.
Linda Blair child.
Please don't murder your sexual partners.
Please don't, guys. If you have issues, please
Use your
find-
words.
Find help.
Seek help.
Seek help.
Remember who you are and what you represent.
I love you. Thank you.
Okay, bye. Thanks for listening to this week's episode. We put out new episodes every single Wednesday, and if you're impatient like me, be sure to become a Patreon where you can get your episodes early each week. For as little as $2 a month, you not only significantly support the production of this podcast, but you'll also get extra benefits and perks for being one of our special Patreon weirdlings. Go to patreon.com/threesacrime for more information. For all of our links related to our socials, affiliate codes, where to listen, and everything else, go to linktree/threesacrime.